The young and the restless spoilers. Amanda's life had changed in more ways than she could have ever anticipated since the day she left Genoa City. What was once a structured, focused existence defined by courtroom strategies and guarded emotional boundaries had unraveled into something unrecognizable, chaotic, unstable, and disturbingly unpredictable. The woman who once prided herself on knowing all the angles now found herself in the middle of a whirlwind that she never saw coming. And the epicenter of that chaos? Aristotle Dumas, the man whose charm was as magnetic as his past was mysterious. Or rather, the man who, under that polished facade and exotic name, was someone Amanda once studied in law files and never imagined would re-enter her life in such a visceral, personal way. Dumas was Cain Ashby, the man once married to Lily Winters, the man who vanished from Genoa without so much as a whispered goodbye, only to now reappear reborn and rebranded as a romantic tycoon capable of captivating the most rational woman Amanda had ever known, herself. When Dumas's Cain first appeared in her life again, she didn't recognize him. The tailored suits, the European accent polished by years away, the measured poise? It was all a meticulously crafted illusion, and Amanda, sharp as she was, fell for it. What started as a flirtation on foreign soil quickly escalated into something intoxicating. Dumas had a vision. He spoke of love not in fragile terms, but as a force, a consuming storm that reshaped destinies. Amanda, so long guarded, found herself drawn to the madness. She told herself it was temporary. That it wasn't real. But soon, the nights became longer, and the line between illusion and reality blurred. She was in love, or something dangerously close to it. But love wasn't the right word, not really. It was an obsession, a gravitational pull that tethered her to a man whose past was littered with abandonment, deception, and broken vows. So, when Dumas proposed the unimaginable, transforming a private luxury train into a mobile cathedral for their wedding, Amanda laughed at first. But he wasn't joking. The man who once faked his death, ran from legal scandal, and disappeared into the mist now wanted to marry her in front of a curated audience of elites, influencers, and uninvited ghosts from Genoa City's storied past. It was a theatrical gesture, the kind of twisted grandeur that only someone like Dumas could conceive. To Amanda's horror, she said yes. Not because she wanted to be his wife. Not really. But because she was caught in his current, swept so deeply into his world that saying no would have meant acknowledging the terrifying truth, that she had lost control. That she wasn't who she used to be. And so the invitations were sent. The train, with its black lacquered walls and champagne-soaked promise of spectacle, roared to life under a blood-orange sky. It was more than a wedding, it was a performance. But not everyone was clapping. Somewhere in Genoa City, Lily Winters was reading a headline she never expected to see: Amanda Sinclair and Aristotle Dumas to wed in private ceremony abroad. Her hands trembled as she held the paper. Her vision blurred. And then the realization hit her like a wrecking ball: Dumas wasn't just some foreign mogul. He was Cain. Her Cain. The father of her children. The man who walked away from her without a word, without a funeral, without an explanation. The man who had left her to raise their children, carry their debts, and face the whispers alone. And now he was marrying Amanda, the woman Lily had once tried to befriend, the woman who had dated Devon, the woman who was supposed to stand for justice and truth. Lily didn't cry. Not at first. She raged. She screamed. She threw the paper across the room and vowed she would not let this wedding happen. Not without a fight. Not without the truth. Because there were things Amanda didn't know. Things Cain had buried. And if this wedding was truly going to happen, Lily needed to be there, not as a guest, but as a ghost of his past come to reclaim the truth. By the time the train began its journey through the snow-dusted hills of the European countryside, the guests were already sipping champagne, unaware that chaos was clinging to the rails just as tightly as the cold wind. Amanda wore a gown that shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes, once so sharp and steady, were now tinged with uncertainty. Dumas stood at the altar, composed and smiling, a man who had orchestrated this illusion down to the final rose petal. The officiant cleared his throat. The music swelled. And then, Lily arrived. The doors of the train's ceremonial car burst open with the kind of force that silences rooms and stops hearts. There she was. Lily Winters, regal and enraged, her voice trembling with fury as she shouted, "Stop this wedding." Gasps filled the room. Amanda turned. Dumas narrowed his eyes. For a moment, silence. Then Lily stepped forward, her hands clenched, her eyes wet. "How dare you," she spat at Kane. "How dare you stand here and pretend to be someone new when you've never made peace with who you really are?" Amanda, blindsided, looked between them. "What is she talking about?" she demanded. But Kane said nothing. Lily continued, her voice breaking. "He left me. Left our children. Disappeared without a word. And now he wants to marry someone else as if none of it ever happened. You deserve to know the truth, Amanda. You deserve to know who you're really marrying." The officiant stammered, unsure whether to proceed. The guests murmured. Some began to record. And then Victor Newman's laughter rang out from the back of the car. A slow, sarcastic clap echoing between the marble columns and flower arrangements. He stood, adjusting his cufflinks, and declared, "This is the most entertainment I've had in years." His smirk was razor-sharp. Kane Ashby, hiding in plain sight, proposing to a woman who should know better. "You two won't last. You're not in love, you're in a con. And the only thing more fragile than your so-called relationship is this sham of a wedding." Amanda stepped back, wounded by words she didn't want to believe but couldn't ignore. "Is it true?" she asked Kane. "Are you using me?" Kane's face was unreadable. But Amanda saw the flicker. The hesitation. And that was all she needed. She turned, took a shaky breath, and walked off the altar, her train dragging like a wounded spirit behind her. The wedding was over. The illusion shattered. The train continued moving, but nothing was the same. Lily stood alone in the center of the room, breathing heavily. Her heart was broken, not because she still loved Kane, but because she saw the final fracture of a chapter she thought had already ended. Amanda sat in the back, glassy-eyed, silently mourning the version of herself she lost along the way. Dumas's Kane stood at the altar with nothing. No bride. No applause. Just the ghost of a life he couldn't outrun. Victor, still amused, exited the car and made a call. "It's done," he said. Let the fallout begin. And fallout there would be. The headlines the next day were merciless. Trainwreck wedding, billionaire groom revealed as fugitive ex-husband. Amanda disappeared from the public eye. Lily returned to Genoa City with a quiet fire burning in her chest. And Kane, or Dumas, vanished once more, proof that some men are destined to be shadows, no matter how brightly they try to shine. No one truly understood how it had come to this. How Amanda Sinclair, the once righteous, methodical, fiercely intelligent legal powerhouse, had gone from defending the law to threatening to destroy it. How a woman who once stood for truth and integrity now stood on a private luxury train in a bridal gown, eyes blazing with something unrecognizable, clutching a loaded weapon in her trembling hand. It was madness. It was surreal. It was tragic. And yet, somewhere deep inside the train racing through the Swiss Alps, amidst flower petals, spilled champagne, and gasps of horror, it was also real. Amanda didn't arrive at this moment overnight. No. This descent was years in the making, forged in silence, disappointment, betrayal, and unresolved grief. Leaving Genoa City was supposed to be her escape, her fresh start. But no matter how far she ran, the ghosts followed. The whispers, the judgment, the quiet way people always compared her to Hillary. The way Devon broke her heart then moved on as if she were just a shadow of someone else. The way the Newman family looked at her, as if she was never truly one of them, never trustworthy, never important enough. Something inside Amanda began to shift. It was a slow-burning bitterness, curdling into resentment. And when Cain reappeared in her life under the guise of Aristotle Dumas, offering her something she never had, a sense of purpose, of partnership, of power, it wasn't love that blossomed first. It was vindication. Cain, for all his faults, saw her. Not as Hillary's sister, not as someone's ex. He saw her rage, her fire, and fed it like oxygen to flame. He told her she had been wronged. That the people of Genoa City never truly accepted her. That they used her when they needed her legal mind, then discarded her when they feared her strength. He reminded her how the Newmans manipulated everyone, how the Abbotts protected their own at any cost, how justice was always for the chosen few. It started as long talks over wine, then intense, sleepless nights where truth bled into fantasy. And in time, Cain's twisted version of reality became Amanda's gospel. He didn't just seduce her, he rewired her. And by the time he proposed that they get married aboard a train while everyone who once doubted them watched helplessly, Amanda was ready. Ready to burn bridges. Ready to confront the past. Ready to fight. What none of them expected was that she would literally be ready to fight, with a gun. The ceremony had already derailed emotionally when Lily stormed in, denouncing Cain as a coward and Amanda as a fool. But what followed shattered the remnants of normalcy. Amanda didn't run. She didn't flinch. She calmly reached beneath her flowing white gown and pulled out a compact pistol, the metallic glint catching the light like a cruel diamond. Gasps turned into screams. The music died instantly. Guests ducked behind pews. And Amanda, standing with shocking poise, pointed the weapon toward the nearest window, not yet at anyone, but enough to send a clear message. She wasn't bluffing. Enough, she said, her voice calm and ice-cold. We're doing this. No one is going to ruin this day. Not Lily. Not Victor. Not anyone. Her eyes scanned the crowd like a hawk hunting for weakness. All my life, I've played by the rules. I've done what's right. And where did it get me? Abandoned. Betrayed. Forgotten. Not anymore. Today, we take back control. Cain and I, together. Lily was frozen. Her breath caught in her throat, her eyes wide with disbelief and horror. You're out of your mind, she whispered, stepping forward only to be halted by the sudden jerk of Amanda's arm. The gun now aimed directly at her. Lily stopped. Her fists clenched. The tears fell freely now. You're seriously going to pull a gun on me? On all these people? Amanda didn't waver. I'm doing what I have to do, she said, her voice breaking slightly, betraying the agony beneath the rage. You all think you can judge me, laugh at me, write me off? No. Today, you will watch. And you will smile. You will applaud when we say I do. And you will remember that Amanda Sinclair is not a woman you dismiss. Victor, still seated, chuckled under his breath, a dark, guttural sound that echoed through the stunned car. You've lost it, he said, folding his arms. You've let that con artist crawl into your head. You're not taking back power. You're just exposing your weakness. Amanda turned her glare to him. Say one more word and I swear I'll put a bullet through your legacy, she hissed, finger tightening on the trigger. You think this is weakness? This is the only strength any of you will ever recognize. Cain, oddly, remained calm. He approached slowly, hands raised, voice soft like a hypnotist. Amanda, you don't have to do this. We can walk away. Just you and me. But Amanda turned to him and for a fleeting second, her entire face cracked. Her lips quivered. Her eyes glistened. Don't patronize me, she said. You told me we'd stand together. You said the world would never forget this day. I did, he replied, voice steady. But not like this. I didn't want this. You made me this, she spat. And then, in the corner of the train, someone screamed. A glass shattered. Someone tried to call the police, but Amanda fired into the air, one sharp shot that left ringing in everyone's ears. The smell of gunpowder mingled with the roses. Sit down, she screamed. This wedding will happen. This is our future. Lily collapsed to her knees, sobbing now, shaking, unable to process the woman Amanda had become. She wanted to lunge at her, to grab her by the throat, to tear that wedding dress to shreds and scream in her face until she woke up. But the gun. That damned gun. It turned everything into a nightmare. Amanda, now trembling with adrenaline and fury, turned toward the officiant, who had long since dropped the ceremonial binder. Read it, she barked. Say the vows. Say them. But the officiant shook his head. I can't. Amanda screamed in frustration, spinning in place, her gown stained with sweat, her eyes bloodshot and wild. Fine. I'll marry him myself, she cried, grabbing Cain's hand and clutching it to her chest. Do you, Aristotle Dumas, take me, Amanda Sinclair, to be your wife? But Cain didn't answer. His mouth opened, then closed. And then, finally, he whispered, I'm sorry. The betrayal hit Amanda like a slap. Her body went rigid. The gun slipped from her fingers and clattered to the floor. Her knees buckled. She stared at him, the man who promised her everything, and saw only a liar. The crowd remained frozen, not daring to breathe. Amanda turned, stumbled down the aisle, and disappeared into the next car. Seconds later, the sound of a door slamming shut echoed like a final verdict. The wedding was over. The bride was gone. And the myth of Amanda Sinclair, warrior for justice, lay in ruins on the floor with her discarded weapon. Victor finally stood, brushing imaginary lint from his sleeve. Well, he muttered, I suppose that's one way to celebrate love. Outside, snow began to fall. The train rolled on. And inside, no one said a word. Would you like the next part to explore Amanda's fate, Lily's revenge, or the legal consequences of the armed standoff? I can continue building this high-stakes arc however you like.